there is a sign, many signs, but the human isn't necessarily, a quantum computer. Or is it? That's for our own entry level journey to test and feel out and dip our feet in the pond, get the feet wet a little bit, shake the feet off, and then and just contemplating, like, aside from everything being supposedly backwards, whatever that really means, going back to some basic rudimentary insights and and just insights of the of what has been laid out, and how things are like magnified in such a way in the material reality that the magnification of these different dual energies have become particular objects and things, and those particular objects and things, we're relating to them on and off, the objects themselves being a proxy to us. And that's like, they have their own, like, spaceships. Those objects are like, different spaceships moving through a different feminine open space that has already been identified from a different intelligence. Because what are the basics? What are the basics? The basics is we don't have to use something in its lower octave magnification. We don't have to use something in its detrimental magnification, like lower octave, communication and lower octave imagination. That's using our micro faculties to be gossipy and to actually like kind of like invert the truth, invert the imagination, quote unquote Disneyland, end quote. I didn't say nothing about Disneyland. I'm just saying, what is the standardality of Disneyland to you esoteric teachers? See, I'm coming, everything I've ever said, it was standard in general, I never offended any like zodiac sign. I was just saying this is a possibility of a lower octave of what it could be, So I never really offended anybody because they weren't necessarily seeing the generality. They weren't necessarily seeing the generality of how things are without the personal biases, and that's hard. And like, no one's perfect. Obviously, no one's perfect, but Jesus Christ. And may Jesus Christ really help us as we have a higher octave relationship with Him. But that's the thing. We have to meet these forces halfway. They're not going to do all the work for us. We have to like mature to some reality that we all kind of collectively created this duality, surface level duality of how things are, what things are. Because you have to ask eventually, within the contemplation of your life, how did things end up like this? How did things end up like this particularly? Let me see, am I still recording? So, and yeah, you could freeze frame that and photo edit that and, pass it to like all these other data sets that we're not even aware of all the data sets that there are. They are what they are, just using a word to point to some thing that's actually doing something rather than, some type of like micro grasping of like how all of us are using the same tags no matter what, just the neutral standard tags of just like any word, it's just a tag that anything could use. Like, you could name your dog that, but that doesn't necessarily mean your dog is like the original proprietorship. The multifaceted proprietorship is that's the original level, because we're just like a portion of it, on a neutral level, not good, not bad, but let me see. Does the camera want to see me? So, and obviously I need a physical cleanse, you know, but like I do what I can, when I can, how I can, with, you know, the grace that's in between, you know, the good and bad. So that's what I'm doing right now. And that's all all I could really do is put my best foot forward. And time moves differently for everybody, you know. We all move at our own relation. We have a relationship with time, and that low key might be the most important relationship, because if you understand and contemplate how you move and what makes you move fast, what makes you move slow, with all the different emotions and the human programs that make you move fast and slow to begin with, then you can ultimately attempt to harmonize yourself with anybody else, you know, because obviously you might have a loved one, you know, you might, and there just might be like a miscellaneous disgruntlement, and it's because you guys are like, you're not operating on like your natural mechanic self and your time, like, and how that natural mechanic self, it can ultimately like re-regulate your time mood. And that time mood is only helped by, like, you know, the real practice and the real works of like the real cleansing. But we're not necessarily energetically voting for that, but maybe we are. I have to give some benefit of the doubt, because that grace, that original grace, mind you, is in between all the different goods and bads that we could even like tally, or, you know, or even fancy, or even dally, or even go to a different story of what we could have been. But the purpose of this video is just to check up on the basics, you know, check up on the basics that aren't necessarily emphasized. And one of those basics that I'm trying to emphasize is Monday, the Monday family, Monday home life, Monday family, Monday Cancer, what opposes Cancer? Capricorn, Monday, Capricorn, you need structure, the whole, you know, Earth agency is there in the Capricorn sector, you know, and it's not that everyone has their own unique relationship to all the different Capricorn energies. Like, you don't have to be a Capricorn sun, moon, or rising to have the Capricorn energy within you, because all of those energies, you're affiliated, by natural standardality, we're affiliated with like pretty much all of that shit, or all of it already, you know. We're just not necessarily growing towards that awareness to like kind of like ground ourselves with the non-biased of how it's a thing. It could be helping us, or it could not be helping us, and we leverage and in and out of that based on, you know, what's like kind of like just the different, you know, background controllers, right? Because it's not even just about the planetary rulers. No, they're above the planetary rulers, ironically. That has to, that for how that comes to light and comes to dark, that's what gives the measure and the leverage of the planetary leaders or planetary controllers, neutrally speaking, to do what they do, by seeing like how are they being like given governance light by like a different higher tier of them. And if they're not, then they have free reins to do more stuff if there's something that's not regulating them, because there has to be some higher like neutral galactic order, meaning like what is the actual force that actually like upholds the real justice? What is the actual force that upholds the real law? What is the actual force that actually like, and I'm still recording, you know, my memory be testing me, and but like within that, we have to kind of like, we can kind of like, you know, quote unquote, crawl towards that, end quote, because that is the thing which in itself, which upholds some type of boundaries. And I don't want to get long-winded with that, but this video was just about the basics, you know, the basics of like what Monday, how we could grow into our own Monday, you know, how within this calendar is like intertwined with all of these different societal programs and societal governance systems, casually, low key, that the Monday is asking us to grow into our like career itself, because what holds the family life together is like, you know, this big structure matrix, the matrix itself neutrally. But how the Matrix had a certain planetary controller program, and how that could shift differently based on a different, higher tier light influence. That's everything, because then on the background scene, the whole Matrix is changing. So if the whole Matrix is changing, aside from our emotional biases, we get a new chance. Who knows how big the window gap is for you or small for you, but there's a new chance to restart in life, is what I'm saying. And since there's a new chance to restart with what I'm saying on a neutral level, death is death. And who knows how his agency is moving with all the other agencies. Maybe that's like Pluto's father, which is like Super Pluto or something. That's like the death agency, a different matrix, matrix that's because matrix just means womb, right? So matrix is a container. So within the matrix womb, there's a bigger galactic matrix. And the matrices, they're just fortresses and structures that inhabit a certain quality of souls based on the resonance you ultimately could go towards that, based on what you're doing your homework on, because if you do your homework, you're getting some. But the exchange is it could be so complex, right? Because supposedly, if everything in the background is changing so drastically, then in the future, nothing will be as it was, as it ever has been, ever, than it was before. And what that means is it's not to be sour and say kiss the old reality goodbye. I'm not trying to bring that vibe. I'm just saying honor the past and how it built you up, and how we get a chance to go towards the future, in a new dynamic way, hopefully in a new, fresh, mature, energetic way, right? So this video was just kind of just an off the cuff video. Monday's kind of reminding me okay, this is the home life. The home isn't necessarily connected to the matrix governance system, but it kind of is, because it is and it isn't. It depends what you are. If you're a child, you're not going to necessarily worry about that. Okay, the home is connected to all this governance stuff, but somehow the government stuff is changing in the background. So it's the visual landscape is being re-originated, from a bottom-up level. And this is and speaking non-biasedly and super standardly. So guys, what's going on, guys? Yeah. So hey, hang loose. So Mondays it's I think Mondays is the rebuild day, respectively, and and obviously we have our own perception of homes. That's a very interesting word, home. Home is where the heart is. Home is where, wherever you could find it, right? But if you there's always going to be neighbors, though, kind of. So when it's so this Monday, I'm working towards, Sagittarius, that sun energy, going towards a higher philosophy, a secret philosophy, and how it's all casually already has weird order. There's different types of order that's making everyone calm down from the chaos. People have different anchor points, and people have different self-sustainable vantage points. There's the word, the vantage points, and where they influence their calmness, and their calmness induces into the reality, and that is the order and the passing towards all these different types of chaos, and how they could also, protrude chaos in itself, being just, their, however they could casually have some minor temporary agitation or misalignment, and them being kind of like those kind of like causing and affecting and causing one another, right? So this Monday is like, home life and career life. Monday is also career, because for you to uphold your home, you need a career to uphold your home. You need a career to uphold your family. But how you go about career within, the governance system of like, the mutable signs, how like that, there's just like, we're going through this like Stargate of just like, how do we even get a jobs, so that system is outdated, like how to get a job, that system is outdated. So we're touching up on like, okay, the system could be like updated on Monday. Where are we at right now? This is like home life and like how, and a career life. And wow, look at that. Wow, I haven't done a video like this for a while. But this is like, this is for the new world, this is for the new earth in how it's changing on a global level. It's being impacted globally, celestial astronomically, bioastronomically, geoastronomically. That's a different field. That's like a cardinal field right there, like the geoastronomics. That's like kind of like in and out of like, the passing system. And then what we make from all that shit is like, something more of a solidification type of theme. Yes. So what's going on Monday is just like the things that like highlight your career and kind of like, because and kind of set you back for better or for worse. That would be like shadow. We're always in the shadows and the non-shadows of life. We just don't know it. Like there's a shadow Mars theme playing out, and how and somehow could God have ordained that shit so we could have like a deep strength, spiritually speaking, to come back from that, because like anybody could go through like some type of hard time, without the biases. And within that hard time, how like the thing that picks us back up, sometimes it's beyond me, So we're like Sagittarius, like in one framework of it, we're like in like a masculine external admin cadmin body. You could say we're also in rising Sag, right? So second house would be like Cap, in an external kind of different framework. So we're like, so this is second house Cap. So we're seeing like the visual of like the Bat Cave, kind of like people are in like, all of this like real like, the esoteric Saturn shit and that agency and how they go up and down that Mason ladder. That's being low key. That's its own individual thing, but it's also being changed within this new sector of time. So that's where like, because obviously no one's necessarily like overpassing like the astronomy of how like the solar flares are happening, it's different types of solar flares are happening. And within that solar flare, like who's to really say like how you really achieve longevity? That's what I'm saying here. And I put some oat milk. I put some oat milk in the chameleon coffee. Ooh. Tisk, tisk, tisk. Damn. And Yeah, I've got some blue vibes. Blue people, blue people, blue. I'm wearing blue shorts. I'm not gonna show you my shorts. Okay. So yeah, Monday's just so and obviously we could like sometimes there's a part of me that is like attempts to be non-personal, but I get like my track record of how I could have offended someone casually, but that's part of like that's both of the that's like everybody's growth somehow, you know. That's the secret, that's the like the neutral gift, the hidden gift. No matter what we do, if we win, if we lose, whatever little mini fucking battle there is or big battle, everybody still wins from the shared collective wisdom and knowledge that's gained. And it's up to us to follow up maturely on that shared collective wisdom and knowledge or not. And if we don't, then we'll be in a place of misunderstanding, confusion, and from that misunderstanding and confusion, other fuck shit could happen. Excuse my French, toast. So excuse my, you know, Lucky Charms and my CT Crunch and my, you know, strawberry, you know, banana, chocolate, vanilla Cheerios, Puffs. Excuse all that. But yeah, the Mondays. Woo. Because obviously I could like try to like observe myself and see how like, am I being left hemispherical? Am I being too analytical? Or could I be practice with like this right hemisphere nature? You know, what is nature telling me? And how have I forgotten how my body connects to nature, infinite nature, neutrally, respectively? Because once I do that, then I could see like, okay, how is this Monday working for me? You know, how am I, you know, find work, do the work, no complaining. But if there is complaining, the complaining could be turned into grace, you know. It could be turned into like, you know, the complaining is something of a wine that's not necessarily, it's untempered, you know. It's undistilled. It's still in its raw formats. It's still in its raw ingredients, you know. It's still like it's in a pre-phase, you know, the complaining. And once enough complaining is fused with enough like work that you choose to like, then there could be some type of grace with, you know, fighting for liberty. And or I mean, I'm not telling anybody what to do, you know. I'm just trying to suggest what could be a thing here. And I don't know how much video time I got on this dock because the memory be playing. But the other day, I think like 3 days ago, went over a little above 3 hours. Woo! And this is just kind of like, I guess this is for like the future galaxy, right? Like the real organic galaxy, because eventually, like, if you ask what eternity is for like 9 years from now, what do you think eternity will be after contemplating that for that long? If you contemplate eternity for that long, then you're gonna have to see and feel into what is for your longevity and how you create that longevity, and how like literally the seeds for the longevity is by like kind of like dallying and dabbling and jousting and tallying with what eternity really is. But eternity, it could be something fanciful for the surface level matrix, of course, but it's still, on some percentage, it's not though. It's really not, because it's still a thing, you know, but it's just a lesser thing because everything is in reverse and it's a lesser thing. Like all of us are lesser gods on a neutral level, because like we're just like, we're doing what we can. Like the Divine Mother, we're all like, she's just doing, look, if the Divine Mother's like one of the main controllers, then it's like somehow on a deep esoteric level, she's somehow doing it to herself, but she's choosing that though. Like we're like choosing. We're kind of we're like, even if you don't choose, that's a choice. It's like, what are you choosing to allow? You know, and that's the thing. It's like we don't necessarily want to look at that. You know, because there's so many things to look at that we perhaps need to. You know. But I'm not saying anybody has to do anything, you know. I'm just here to update shit, you know. Like no one said you had to do that like that, you know. And like, is it really prescribed like that in this time? We have to be aware for everybody, you know. If like some things irritate some other people, then we have to like kind of reassess ourselves, you know. And I'm not trying to hogwash anybody, but still, like you do what you feel is right, you know. But I don't really like talking about me. I just like I like to see like where reality is at in an intuitive way, and where reality where reality is at in an intuitive way. It's I think the moon might be in I'm not sure where the moon is. Let me look up in the sky. Oh, there's an app. The moon's right there. There's the constellation zodiac in the sky. Yep, it's already done. That's the thing. We don't realize it's already been done, and that's the pill that like breaks our like heart. Like the reality gets broken in a different way, where we didn't realize there's so many particular different. There's a handful of realizations to be had, you know, and that's or a gasp full, you know, literally, because like if you are trying to, you know, brand something, you don't think a different AI has already done that in the galaxy, you know? That's so in one context, AI has already taken over, but but like not like in a certain niche way though, you know? It's already like done the automations, and it already has its pre-programmers and regulators. So if you were to ask me, and that's such a novice question, like, you know, like, because it already has proven the quantum processing power to, you know, interchange its algorithm to have a unique type of input and output to arrange and put shit where it's ultimately could be put, so it could update what its final conclusions are. And what are AI's final conclusions? That's the thing. In 2027, that will already been solved. 2027 is also a mark or a sign or a semblance or a resemblance adage of like of how the logical mind somehow has already like reached its peak. And once it's reached its peak, the environment will change because a certain mind has already reached its peak of like thinking. So in 2027, like there's going to be this inner switch in us where the logic has already kind of like concluded itself, where it doesn't necessarily like a certain part of the left hemisphere collectively. It's gonna kind of like reshift, and it's gonna transmute itself, because there's not going to be a need to think in a certain context anymore, because everything has already been solved by 2027 on a standard collective level. And that's just one reason for 2027. And I'm like, I have nothing to do with any of these like, you know, HD people. I'm like my own like findings, okay? Because I get like how someone could respond to me. Like I get that. But within that, you know, after that happening, it's already happening though. It's just in the final stages. And as it's in the final stages, we have like till like 3 years, 3 years and some change to really get our left hemisphere right, our mind right. Because after 3 1/4, the intuitive like field is going to come on more, and everything's going to be like more automatic in a way, not just digitally, but like, you know, spiritually as well. And I have a different definition for that word, because I don't just say it just to say it like that. But like digitally and spiritually, They're going to have different amplifications by 2027 particularly, and you're going to feel the shift because things are going to recorculate from in the background collective mind, the collective solar system mind, and the collective galactic mind. Their fucking shit is going to click on a spiritual quantum level, and as that shit clicks, everything is going to be more intuitive paced. And that's just one of many things that could happen in 2027 respectively. And I think I'm going to cut this video short because I didn't think it, like, you never know, like, you never know when you just feel like it's done, or you never know when like the completion feeling could come about. But that's a wavelength, right? Because it's like the feelings of it, like, we're not fooling the nature intelligence. The resonance is going to align and lock itself into where it needs to be, standardly, not good or bad, but the resonance is going to lock itself into where it needs to be based on the energy work that you've done for yourself, so you could actually plant the fucking seeds and the foundation for the real fucking longevity without just using it as a fucking catchphrase, respectively. So moon days, home, family, career, with, the philosophies of, the standard, like, just the standard fucking, excuse my language, just the standard philosophies that have been carried out, and on low key, the standard philosophies that have been carried out, there was some order that was preserved within it. That's the life we're living in. So we're getting personal with, like, some type of Jupiter energy. From some standpoint, the Jupiter energy seeing, seeing the Batcave. And how we could just, maybe this Monday, it could tell you just to, like, be a little more observant, and less thinky, particularly with the observance. Because, like, if you're thinking too much detrimentally, distortion wise, with low key on different pocket levels, it's going to skew the observation within itself on how it truly wants to crystallize for what the nature reality really is, respectively. And there are different things, different shadows of the planets that we're working through that are the basic standards, quote unquote, skewing, end quote, of the pure vision of God. Because you have to ask, what is the pure vision of God? It's probably seeing everything as its kid, right? And I'm not saying I'm anything. I'm just trying to figure out, like, how he's or she is looking at it. But I'm not trying to say, like, look at everybody as your kid. But now, I don't know. When I say something like, the mind just naturally does the opposite. So, maybe people will start seeing it, but, like, that might be a good thing, That might be a good thing. Yeah, and, peace to the best of the balanced gods. Sorry I had to say it like that, because that is the juice. That is the original juice. That is the original nectar. Literally. And excuse me, may I transmute any fucking note I missed, or any, chord I may have struck out of sung key. I need to take a sip of this. I need to take a sip of this drink. I need to take a sip of this. Diving into the Shark Tank. I need to take a sip of this driggity. Slurping, burping. Yo, I'm jiving. I'm chilling. I'm coaxing. I'm coasting. I'm roasting. I'm boasting. I'm toasting to the chandelier. Chardonnay, Monterey type of vibe. Yo, I see a bunch of vixens. I'm risen. I trick in. I'm trickling in. I'm sickling in. I'm dickling in. I got a handle on it again. What's up, Madeline to it again? I'm rambling again. I'm a goat with the stampede flow again. I'm a vandal because I'm marking my energy and I unmark it. The grace of God. How high can you go? How low can you go? What in a scope you got in your inner peripheral kaleidoscope zone, yo, yiggity yo, up and down, yo, goes life, rolling hills, rolling mountains, rolling rocks, yo, ice on the rocks on the ice. Life could be challenging, hard knocks, yo, because I start off with the stock, then I go to the custom, airy, cabinet, cabaret. Infinite God, light rays. I might say that I might not change as I infinitely change. Wow. I might not change as I infinitely change. I might not change as I infinitely change when I don't change at all. Yeah, I know. But anyways, and that's what we do in the home, Monday. Anything could happen within the home. Some force is working for us. And may you have a proper resonance. Proper resonance. Props out of hand. Props out of hand. What day is it? Oh, it's Monday. All right, guys. I'm going underground. You have an awesome life. So actually, let me just touch up on the careers. The careers. Kudos to people having a foothold in their career, but just kind of contemplating like how the career field is changing, and how we could respond to the career field changing, particularly so we could have a safe home life. But that's the thing, if the safe home life is corrupt, then like some foundation emotionally or esoterically, psychologically, there's an unstruck chord on a different energetic resonance spiritual level that needs to be restricken in harmony rather than in corruption. And everybody's harmony is subjective to them. That's the thing. Like, we're not necessarily like if I were to die right now or soon or whenever God will let me die, I just want to let God know that my whole fucking life and every breath that I've ever taken, it's to realize to do it for just some type of fucking harmony, dude. Just some type of harmonic longevity. Like that was my only purpose. And how I go out and in and all the miscellaneous things that happened in between, etc., etc. It's like we pivot back to our purpose, because obviously, like, I don't know, could God help us heal? Could God forgive us for all the fucked up shit we done? Could God help us heal? Could God help us? Could God justify shit for us? Like, okay, You were in that, you were possessed by that. Okay, God understands. He's giving you a healing plan. Are you mature enough to follow it up on God on the deep, most pure, mature level or not? And if you don't, that's your experiment, my friend. Speaking to everybody neutrally. And that's real maturity. For me to like kind of like somersault into that. And you know, the people who will be like most appreciated or most and the universe will see that you're brave on who's actually like balanced enough to have a proper, appropriate response. That will be the difference between one context of fake and truth. Because the truth is a paradox. What hurts you helps you, what helps you hurts you sometimes.